join in afterwards, but we're going to open up in prayer and then we'll get started. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you for the opportunity to have this season, Lord, this spring T-ball. I pray, Father, that you'll just be with each and every one of the participants, Lord, that you might just allow them to have an enjoyable season, Lord, and a safe season. I thank you for the parents to allow them to play and just entrusting them with the YMCA during this season. I pray, Lord, that you allow us to all have an enjoyable season, Father, and just guide and direct the hearts and souls of each and every person. We thank you and praise you and ask all these things in your name. Amen. All right. Well, first off, I would like to say thank you for allowing your child to play with us. It has been a very good turnout this year. Actually, more than we've ever had participate in the YT ball at all or ever before. And so I'm excited, but at the same point, there's a few things that we are working out with the influx that we've had. And so that's one of the things I wanted to say before we get started. But as far as the practices, I know that's generally one of the biggest questions that we always have as far as the practice times, game times, days of the week, and everything like that. And so as far as that goes, the practices are not going to be at the same time as the games. We had to move that around a little bit to fit everybody in. So I can tell you the 2 times that each league will be practicing, but I do not know currently which time your child will be, as it will depend on which team they are on. So currently the 2 practice times for our 3 to 4 year olds will be at 5 and 5:45. Each practice is going to last about 45 minutes and then it will be over. So that's the 2 times that we'll have practicing for our 3 to 4 year olds. And then for the 5 to 6 year olds, they will be practicing at 6:30 and 7:15, also taking about 45 minutes. I know the 7:15 is a little bit late, but that is the only way we were able to get in all the practices. So I did want to mention that each practice will take about 45 minutes and last there. As far as for the games, now the games, I do know they will be set in stone. This is the times that they will be. The games for the 3 to 4 year olds will be at 5:30, and the games for the 5 to 6 year olds will be at 6:30. And so those will be able to work out as far as with the fields and scheduling. I just know as far as the practice times, we only have a limited amount of fields, and so we were not able to put them all at those same times. So that will be the games and practice times. The practice times will be, as I said, 5 p.m. and 5:45 p.m. for the 3 to 4 year olds, and 6:30 and 7:15 p.m. for these for the 5 to 6 year olds. And I will say, in making the schedules, chances are, unless a coach needs a specific time and wouldn't be able to do the practice at the other time, they'll probably fluctuate a little bit. So that way you won't be always at 7:15 or always at 5. It'll probably bounce back and forth between the 2, but I did want to let you know that. And then also for the practices, right now, our first practice will be March 22nd, which is a week from tomorrow. So right now, how things are looking, we're going to have our coaches meeting the 21st. I'm planning on giving all the coaches the rosters at that meeting, and then they should contact you either Monday night or Tuesday morning before the practice, before next week. So that way everybody knows as far as when the coaches should be contacting you. It'll be either later Tuesday night or later Monday night or earlier Tuesday morning as far as for the coaches. And so I wanted to let everybody know those things. The schedules should be online around that same time. We're in the process of currently making them. And as I had said, with the turnout that we've had this year, is something that we were planning for one thing. And so we're trying to get those things lined up. We will have 2 weeks of practices, and I know spring break week is the week after the 22nd. Let me get the exact date real quick. That way I can. So I know spring break week for Tift County and Tift area is the 28th of March through April 1st. And so as far as the sports, we are not going to do anything that week. We're taking that week off. If a coach wants to have a practice, we're not going to say no, but with that being Tift County and Tift area's practice, we are not having any scheduled practices through that week. So our 2 weeks of practice will be the week of the 22nd and then also the week of April 5th. Those are the 2 weeks that we'll have for practices for each of the leagues. And then we will start our games on April the 12th. So that'll be our first game, and then we'll have 4 weeks of games. So that's kind of the schedule / games itinerary for currently. And once again, the games will be at 5:30 and 6:30 for the 3 to 4 year olds and the 5 to 6 year olds respectively. So that's our gaming practice time. Now, I also wanted to say, as far as for practice locations, it will be located at the Hunt Park. The address for that is 1823 Westover Road. I'll actually type that in the chat. That way you will have that the reference. There we go. 1823 Westover Road. That is the location of all our games and practices. And I will also share the screen real quick and kind of show you a layout of what our fields are going to look like. So as you can see here, this is currently what our Hunt Park facilities look like. We have our YMCA pools at the bottom left. You have the two entrances. One is there above the YMCA pool and one is by the Airnasium. You also have our 3 parking lots. As far as the T-ball fields, all of our T-ball will be played over here on the big field on the left. We'll have field 7, field 8, field 9, and field 10. Those are our 4 T-ball fields. So that way you're kind of aware of where they will be located. And this is going to be at Hunt Park, and the address will be, I just typed in the chat. So that way you know. As far as the 3 to 4-year-olds, they will be on these fields, and the 5 to 6-year-olds as well. So that way everybody knows. And I just wanted to give this, that way you could have a visual layout, and I'll also try and post this on our website for reference as well. So that is our fields layout and everything along those lines. One other thing that is very important is our shirt sizes. I know everybody had to fill out the registration forms and they put in the shirt sizes, but I know a lot of times there might be a miscommunication between the front desk and the shirt size you wrote, or there could be a miscommunication as far as if your child might have grown since you wrote it down and you want a different size, or if you just would like to get a different size. We do have an opportunity to do that, and that will be at our first practice on the 22nd. So I want to encourage each of the parents to make sure to check with the coach. We will give the coach a roster to go and check with. And so that first practice is going to be the one opportunity to look through the roster, make sure the shirt size is correct, the contact information, as well as the spelling of the name, email addresses, and everything is appropriate. And the shirt size goes for shirts that your child has. And also, if you decided to order an extra shirt, please make sure that it is on there and the shirt size is correct for that as well, as we will be ordering shirts right after the first practice. So I wanted to make sure everything is correct, and if you would please check with your coaches during that time. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, the coaches will contact you about the first practice by either next Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, the day of the first practice. Those are currently the 2 times that we have everything going on as far as the coaches contacting you. So those will be the times. And with that, currently we are still looking for some coaches. Right now, we are looking for approximately 4 coaches in our 3 to 4-year-old league, and we're having 8 teams if we're able to get those 4 coaches. And then we're looking for about 1 coach in our 5 to 6-year-old league. And so that is what we're looking for. So if you or anybody you know is interested in coaching, we would love to have you involved in the coaching. It's one of those things that there is no experience required with T-ball. Really in this age group, it's just allowing them to enjoy the game and kind of being a facilitator of the sports and everything along those lines. So we will have our coaches meeting next Monday. That's the 21st, as I mentioned, and we will go from there. So like I said, if you are interested in coaching either the 3 to 4-year-old or the 5 to 6-year-old team, we would love to have you involved, and I'd love to get you more information, as well as we have training available and different things like that. So we are currently looking for those. If we're not able to get it, we might end up having to cut back the amount of teams that we have, and that would really, it would really not be beneficial. So we're trying to push right now to get those last coaches. So if you or anybody you know is interested in coaching, please get with me. The best way is probably going to be through email, and that's seth@tiftarea.ymca.org, and I'll also put that in the chat. Let me see if I can type. That'll be in the chat. And so if you're interested in coaching, please just send me an email and I will get you all the information there. Is there any questions? I'll take a quick break right here. I see one in the chat, and if you have a question, you can type it in the chat and I will try and get back to you, or you can unmute and ask. Either will work. But the first question, if we didn't order a shirt, can we do so at the first practice as well? If you didn't order a shirt, it's going to be best if you stop by the YMCA, as the extra shirts will cost extra. And so they'll have to put that in at the YMCA. So the best way to do that would be to stop by the YMCA before the first practice. That way we can make sure to get that first shirt on the registration form. So the best way to order the extra shirt will be at the YMCA throughout this week, and we should be able to get you hooked up with the extra shirt that way. Also, you see the question, what time does the first practice start? That will be March 22nd. That's a week from tomorrow. That is a Tuesday. We will have the first shirt. The first practice will be then. And so, was there any other questions on what I'd covered so far? I see the other question about the shirts, and I'm going to get that in just a second. But was there any questions on anything that I'd covered so far? I just wanted to take a quick break. All right, well, I'm going to continue on. And once again, if you have any questions, feel free to type that in the chat, and I will be glad to get back with you. So as far as the uniforms, that is the next thing that is on our on the agenda. So for the uniforms, the YMCA will provide the jersey, the shirt that they will wear during the practices, or excuse me, during the games. So the only thing that will be required for the parent to provide will be the pants and cleats. Now the cleats are only really recommended for the 5 to 6 year olds. The 3 to 4 year olds, we encourage the cleats, but they are not required. That way they can just have better traction and kind of get a better feel for the game as they play. So the uniform will be, the coach will have the color, and we really leave this option up to the coach as far as what they want to encourage the parents to wear. But for us, we encourage either black shorts, as that will match most of our shirt colors, or we ask that they wear the baseball pants. Either one will work. You can find those, the baseball pants, I believe you can find at Hibbett's and maybe Walmart, but I do believe Hibbett's has those. You could also find them on Amazon or anywhere. And then the just black shorts would just be any pair of shorts such as black. And that's what we recommend for the dress. Now, the day that we really stress the black shorts is on picture day, and that will be on your schedule. But that's the main day that we encourage everybody to wear black shorts. That way everybody is looking uniform, and for the pictures, everybody will look nice. On the other days, it can kind of be a little bit flexible, but the picture day is the day that we really encourage everybody to wear the black shorts. And I also see a question, what's required to be a coach? So as far as the coach, honestly, the only thing that's required is a willing body. And we can train and teach you everything else that is necessary to coach. The biggest thing is really just being willing and being available to be flexible, especially with the 3 to 4 year olds and 5 to 6, as in some cases they can be a little, scattered. So it's really just being there, being involved with the children, and just teaching them some of the fundamentals as far as, for the 3 to 4 year olds, how to throw the ball, how to catch the ball as far as, maybe a grounder, how to swing it back, how to run the bases properly. Because I know I've seen many a time, a little 3 to 4 year old will hit the bat and they'll start running to third or second base. So just kind of the concept that it goes first base and then where second base is and third base and kind of like that. So as far as the coaching, that will be the only thing that's really required is, as I said, somebody that is willing, and we can kind of train you and coach you on the other things as a coach is concerned. So that's really the only thing that's the main thing as far as with the coaches. So I also see the question, if someone wants to coach but can't come to the coaches meeting, could they still volunteer? Yes, you can still volunteer. I'll still have to get some information from you before the coaches meeting that I'll be getting at the coaches meeting. And also, are they guaranteed to be coaching their child's team? Yes, if you coach, you will be coaching your child's team. That will be set in stone. So as long as I know your child's name and the team your name, I can make sure that those are on the same team as we're going. So to answer those two questions, yes, your child will be on your team. And then also there will be other opportunities as far as outside of the coaches meeting if you're not able to attend that. And so we have that there. And then I will say one other thing as far as the equipment is concerned, is for T-ball, a lot of times they have their glove, the bat, and there's also helmets that they wear. So we will provide all the helmets, and we'll also have some bats and extra gloves that they can use. But we want to encourage parents, if they can, to just provide their own, really their own glove and also own bat. That way, they'll be able to practice with their own stuff and things like that to get more used to what they like to do. And so, like I said, we will have some extras provided if they are unable to, but we just encourage, just if you can, bring your own bat and your own glove and also your own batting helmet if you have it. But with that, it's really just the glove and the bat that we encourage to bring. And please make sure to write your child's name on it, as sometimes it might get mixed in with our stuff or another child's stuff. And that way we can make sure to get it back to you if the child's name is written on it. So that's one of the things as far as the equipment that we want to encourage everybody to bring. So as far as the practice times, I won't know which team is going to be on until the children are placed on the team. And so honestly, the practice times is going to be more of kind of randomized. I don't know what time the child's practice will be on. Like I said earlier, I'm going to try my best to make sure that it is as far as flexible, as far as some teams might be on a 5 o'clock on a Tuesday and a 5:45 on a Thursday, or, you know, the first week they'll be at 5 o'clock, the second week 5:45. That way it's not, if their child can't make it at 5, they're not ever going to be able to make it to a practice. I will try my best to make sure that it is flexible, where it's one's at 5, one's at 5:45. But as far as the guaranteeing, I can't guarantee it. It'll be more of a randomized. So that'll be kind of how we do the scheduling for the practices, both for the 3 to 4 and 5 to 6 year olds. So I did want to mention that. All right. One other thing that is very important for all of our sports leagues, soccer and T-ball, is our weather hotline and news alerts. And that's what this year we actually have a new thing for the news alerts that we're going to introduce. But I still wanted to make sure to give everybody access to our weather hotline. That way you can call that in the event that there is rain or a storm or something along those lines. And so I'm going to put it in the chat, but the weather hotline number is 229-528-9109. And I will put that, as I said, in the chat. And this is a number that if there's a chance of rain, or you're wondering if the game is going to be canceled, or practice can be canceled, the best place to call is going to be the weather hotline. And once again, that's 229-528-9109. This is going to be the first place, one of the first places that I update. I generally update this before I contact the coaches. So if you are interested or curious if the practice was canceled or whatever, this is the place to call, and it'll tell you if it was canceled, as well as if it was canceled, when it will be made up, and different things like that. Now, I try and generally update it about 30 minutes prior to the practice/game time. That way it's not too in advance and the weather doesn't change. But I try and give at least a 30-minute period to give everybody an alert and heads up if we're canceling or changing. And I will say, just with that, the weather is very unpredictable. And as I found in my years with the YMCA, a lot of times it can look like it's fixing a storm, and all of a sudden everything vanishes about 10 minutes before game time. And then it can look like a beautiful day, and 15 minutes before game time, all of a sudden it starts pouring. And so with that, I'm going to do the best I can to give you the heads up, but sometimes the weather being unpredictable will change at the last second and cannot be avoided. So I did want to say that. But also the new alert system that we are introducing this year is our Y Game Time. That is something that we have introduced with our basketball, and now we are also introducing it with our soccer. And there's some of you might have already signed up for this, and I sent out a reminder earlier reminding about the parent meeting. But I did want to show, for those of you who might not know about Y Game Time or have not signed up, how to do that. And so let me see if I can share the screen once again. So to sign up for the Y Game Time, you will just go to the ygametime.com. That is the address, as you can see in the top left up here. Once you go to that, it should bring you to a picture along the lines of this. It's just find schedule, scores, alerts, and more. you want to type in your local branch, and your local branch will be Tift area. You type in Tift area and it should pull up the Tift area YMCA, and then you can select that and it will bring you to our Y Game Time page, and then you just hit sign up for alerts. You will choose the spring T-ball and then whichever division your child is in. And so you can select that there. Once you select it, it will just put your phone number in and then will enroll you. And it's kind of like a text thread, basically, that will send out the reminders to you for each weather alerts, pictures, practices, all those different things. I will send those reminders out through Y Game Time. So I encourage all of our parents to please sign up for that. That way you will be able to access it, and I can send you a alert straight to your phone. That way, instead of having to call the weather hotline, it will come to your phone. But I did want to allow everybody to know those things there. The weather hotline and Y Game Time, those will be our two forms of communication throughout the year. So I wanted to make you aware of those. Is there any questions so far on anything? Good question as far as the black baseball pants or gray or white. If it is the baseball pants, gray or white will work as well. It's really just the black shorts. So it either or will work for the baseball pants, black, gray, or white. And I will say, a lot of times we do leave that up to the coach as far as if they prefer to wear the gray, if they prefer to wear the white, if they prefer to wear the black shorts, and we'll leave that opportunity up to the coach to decide. But that is a good question. Is there any other questions anybody has on anything that has been covered or might not have been covered so far? So I see the question, will the practices be held at the same location as the games, or do we receive that information when the coach contacts parents? So the practices and games will both be at the same location. And let me see if I can pull it back up. They will both be at the Hunt Park, the address that I mentioned, the 1823 Westover Road. That is where all our practices and all our games will be held. And it will kind of look along the lines of the picture that is displayed, should be displayed on the screen. This is, as I said, everything is the map of our fields, the Hunt Park. And so the T-ball will be played in the field that is on the left, right across from the pool. You will have field 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then your schedule will let you know which of these fields that you'll be on. So your schedule will say practice on field 7 or practice on field 8, practice on field 9, practice on field 10, and you'll be able to adjust that way. And so as far as the schedule, that is how that will look. I also see a question. What is the website for the game notifications? That is ygametime.com. ygametime.com. And that will be where you can find all of the, just sign up for the alerts, and we'll go through there for that. Well, I will say the last things I have to say, as I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in coaching, please make sure to email me. That way I can get in touch with you, especially if you're not able to make the parent meeting, or excuse me, the coaches meeting. But even if you are able to make the coaches meeting, I'd love to get in touch with you beforehand, just to give you some basic information. That way you can fill it out kind of beforehand. And then the last thing is, if you, I know a lot of parents have already done this, but if you are interested in sponsoring your child's team, please also get in touch with me about that. That option is also available, but the deadline to do that is coming up at the end of this week. So if you are interested in sponsoring your child's team, it's $150 a piece, and then we can get your child on that team, and it will display your organization's information and everything along those lines. So I did want to say those two things as we end up. And with that, if there is no other questions, that concludes the parent meeting.